smart, capable, hardworking, but you're still getting the same results over and over again. And a lot of that comes down to self-sabotage.
Capability is no one's problem. It's willingness. It's willingness to grow.
At what point do you see people finally break free from self-sabotage?
I could kill off your survival identity, but it's going to take 12 months. Would it be worth it to you?
What is the fastest way to interrupt self-sabotage?
There's 3 lines that everyone has got a brain tattoo.
All right, this one is for a lot of you listening. Smart, capable, hardworking, but you're still getting the same results over and over again. And a lot of that comes down to self-sabotage. So, Arash, let's jump right in. Why does self-sabotage play such a big role in so many people's lives?
The best way I could say it is your survival identity winning. You just had a big win.
Yeah.
And then can I do it again? It subtly comes in and it gets you to accept it. It's not bold. It's not ruthless. It's subtle where people don't even know it. They don't even hear it.
Does it come down to that internal voice or to a belief or doubt, or what is it exactly?
It comes down to the internal voice you didn't catch.
Okay.
And the voice, like I said, it is the biggest con man or con woman in our lives. And it's that voice that gets you to hesitate, the call you don't make, the offer you underprice, the win that's right in front of you that you procrastinate on. You know, this is that voice. You are not that voice. This is what we've got to understand. That voice is a liar. That is not you. But that's the survival identity holding on for dear life, especially after you win. That's why I always tell people, after you win, you've got to be more disciplined.
Yes. Because
it is so easy to drink our own Kool-Aid. It's so easy to say, now I got this. And nothing fails faster than success. You start becoming successful and then you take the foot off the gas. You stop being as urgent as you were. You stop having an obsession for your goals. You let your standards slip.
You lose the hunger.
You lose the hunger. Best way to say it.
You know, there's something that I think is so interesting, and that is self-sabotage affects maybe more or at least as much people who are smart and capable and driven and creating significant results as much as it does people who have never built anything.
Look, people who didn't build anything, they're in a great spot.
They got nothing to sabotage.
They have nothing to lose because they have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
You know, but the people who built something, they're afraid to lose now. So that'd be the opposite of faith. We've got to kill fear, but in order to kill fear, we got to kill doubt. So when that voice comes in, this is our weapon. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
This is not who I am. There's 3 lines that everyone has got a brain tattoo. I am already all that I desire to be. What does that mean? That means I'm not chasing, okay? I've already accepted this. And it'll go right to your goal. The second line is it is done. It is finished. It means I've accepted it on a subconscious level. That's what the communication is. And the third line is I'm at peace. What does that mean? That means I have certainty. Mm-hmm. So if you will start saying that your first 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes before you go to sleep, over time, it's going to be a natural part of you.
I'm going to dig into some of the wording because I think it's interesting. That first one, you said, I already am all that I desire to be. You didn't say I already have all that I desire to have. Why?
Because the having is the effect. So the wealth formula is be, do, have. We have to be more. Well, how do we be more? We have to think different. We have to operate on a different state. We have to build our beliefs. Doing is the natural effect of being. The action is the easiest part if you're being it. The people who are not taking action is because it is not consciously being transferred to their subconscious of their new thought pattern. So it's always be, do, have. The having is going to happen naturally.
Yeah.
Think about a time you had your best month ever, okay? Let's say you had your best income you've ever had in your life, okay? And how long did that joy last?
Couple days,
right? Yeah, it doesn't last long.
Yeah.
Because we're not here for money. We're here for freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom is the goal. Money is the tool. So none of us are motivated by money. People think they are. They're not. What they want is peace of mind. Well, the peace of mind is in your beingness. Mm-hmm. So we have to train ourselves that I'm already that person. That's that first line. I am already all that I desire to be. But watch when you keep saying it over and over again, that's what's going to happen.
And that, what that makes me think is maybe we should add As a Man Thinketh to that list of books on our book episode we did a few weeks ago.
That was such a great book.
Such a good book. I always, that line goes through my head so many times a week. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom, like over and over and over again.
There's so many things. We've got to understand. We have a voice. We've got to use it. Our voice creates. It creates a feeling. If you want more prosperity, brain tattoo this. Every day in every way, my financial thermostat is growing and growing. Every day in every way, my financial thermostat is growing more and more each day. Like you've got to start speaking it. Then that old voice, that survival identity is going to drift away. But what if I told you, I could kill off your survival identity, but it's going to take 12 months. Would it be worth it to you?
Yeah.
Well, that's the attitude you have to take, but you just take it one day at a time. One day, I'm not going to do it. I'm not committing to 12 months. I can do anything for one day.
Are people not willing to do that because they don't have the belief?
It's because they overcommit and they don't have the discipline and the right paradigms yet. But to create the right paradigms takes time. So you have to understand everything in life is about consistency. The consistency of our thinking, consistency of our actions, consistency of our beliefs, consistency of our emotional state. So the man or woman that's most consistent always wins. But commitment always gets us started. Consistency takes us to the finish line.
Yeah. What is a hidden commitment? How does it play into this? And how does someone discover what their hidden commitment is?
Hidden commitments are the form of self-sabotage. So it's a very good frame of the question. Hidden commitment is something we're not willing to look at, that we think we don't have to deal with, that could take us to the future we want. Okay,
give us an example.
A hidden commitment with somebody who procrastination. They're constantly procrastinating. They're not willing to change that. Yeah. Well, they're never going to create the future. Somebody who wants to get in the best shape of their life on the weekends, they binge eating. That's a hidden commitment.
Someone who's obsessed with more information but not getting into the implementation.
Constantly. Not acting on ideas.
Yeah.
And so those would be hidden commitments.
Okay. Is there also like a hidden commitment to your results?
I'll give you one last one.
Yeah.
Sometimes our spouse is our greatest hidden commitment.
Ooh.
I know, it's a tough one. Because you're giving in because you're growing and they're not willing to grow. So you succumb to that instead of being the example.
Yeah.
Once you're the example, you're going to show them a better way of living because they're going to see how happy you are and how much you change.
So good. So good. Okay, is self-sabotage ever protective? And if it's protective, is it productive?
No, never productive.
Okay.
Always protected.
Okay.
Okay, always protected by your survival identity.
It's protecting.
It's protecting it. See, a lot of people are not doing the things they know they should be doing. It's not like people listening to our podcast don't know what they should be doing. They're not doing it because they're protecting themselves from who they want to be because they're protecting what if it doesn't work.
Are they protecting themselves from disappointment, embarrassment?
Failure. They have bad relationship with
pain.
failure. And so what they don't understand is winning and losing is the same combination. You have to be willing to lose if you're going to win. But people think who are not winning, they think, I don't want to put myself out there. What if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
Right? But I fail every day. You have to be willing to fail.
Hey, real quick. One of the most powerful forces in personal and professional growth is proximity. When you spend time around people who think differently, operate at a higher level, and see opportunities you may not realize or recognize, your perspective begins to change. The shift in perspective often leads to better decisions, higher standards, and much faster progress. In fact, I call this osmosis. At Voss Coaching Co., we work with individuals who are ready to step into that kind of environment. Our focus is helping high achievers and high performers expand their identity and create results that reflect their real potential. So if you've been listening to the podcast and you're serious about working more closely with Arash and getting his direct mentorship, send us an email, hello@vosscoachingco.com. Introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about you and your goals, and our team will be in touch. Again, that email is hello@vosscoachingco.com. All right, right back to the episode. What is the fastest way to interrupt self-sabotage if you catch it in the moment?
Kind of like what I gave you earlier. I think it is the best way. We want to knock it out within 15 seconds. This isn't who I am anymore. I'm not interested in this conversation, but it comes in subtly. So the worst thing we could do is force it out, because now you're empowering it. So force negate. So if it comes in, no, that's not me. No, that's not even what I want you to do. I want it to be subtle, matter of fact, boring.
Yes.
You know, I'm not interested in this. This isn't who I am.
Yeah, because that feels very much more in alignment with, I know this is true, whereas no seems very like frantic, chaotic, like you're scared of the self-sabotage.
Yes, and here's the dangerous part. The intellect argues for comfort. It argues for comfort. But your real self, your hero self, is like, let's go. Let's see what this could bring. It's based on inspiration, not comfort. So we have to stop giving into comfort. Capability is never anyone's issue because we're hardwired for an extraordinary life. God has gifted us with these higher faculties. We have so much potential, yet most people don't even know when I say higher faculties what that is. But once we develop them, those are going to, that's what, every goal you've achieved, you've done it through your higher faculties, and you probably didn't even know you were doing them through it.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that. So we allow ourselves, listen to my language, allow ourselves to soar. Most people are so tight. They're so rigid. They're like so into their analytical mind. Well, when I do this, then this is going to happen, this is going to happen. That's just their paradigm being in control.
Based on your experience, at what point do you see people finally break free from self-sabotage?
When they decide, when they truly decide. Most people never decide.
Is it because they've gotten to a point of being fed up?
Yeah, they get to the point where enough is enough. I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I know that was it for me. But until they decide, they're going to chase their greatness. Until they decide, that's the only thing I ever want anyone chasing. You have no idea who you can become. You know, we were at a seminar a little while ago with our inner circle group. I told everyone at the close, I said, I already see you guys enormous. I already know it. And some of you know what the last 12 months with me has been. And now look at you, you know? So I said, I want the people who haven't worked with me yet this long, go talk to them.
Yeah.
You know, because capability is no one's problem. It's willingness. It's willingness to grow.
Is part of the equation like complete self-responsibility?
Always.
Okay.
I mean, we're the only problem and the only solution we're ever going to have. My mentor taught me that. So when we don't have extreme ownership, then we're coming from victimhood. And that's why it's so easy to win. I've said it on so many different podcasts, but I'm going to say it again. There's never been an easier time to win because there's so many victims in the world. Just stop being a victim. You're already ahead of the game.
When do you see people, so I'm assuming that self-sabotage is something that goes in cycles, right? Like the tide goes in, the tide goes out. And so someone might be in a phase of self-sabotage and then they come out of it into a phase of creating results and then they go back into a phase of self-sabotage. What are the causing points of that?
I'm laughing.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because it's so clear in my mind.
Yeah.
So somebody spikes, self-sabotage starts to get them back to their set point.
Yes.
They go down, they get more committed, bring them back up to their set point. But they never change their set point. So over a course of a year, they end up with a few thousand more than they earned before. Their weight is a few pounds over, a few pounds less, but nothing dramatic.
Right.
Then the person who takes complete ownership and starts understanding who they are, where they came from, that God is not somewhere out there, God is within them. So they have access to this power. And they start creating that relationship with understanding how their mind works. And they decide who they're going to be. That's the person that's most dangerous.
So decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Decision and understanding. See, I want everyone to think, when I say God was inside of you, did you think he was on a cloud? So then you're separate. So if you're separate from your creator, how can you create? You're going to react. You're going to come from the physical side. We have to go within. Everything is within. Everything's an inside-outside game.
Yeah.
So anytime I get off course, I go, okay, you lost your discipline. You got to go within. You know, I change what's inside, the outside's going to change.
So good. Anything like last tools or things you want people to consider if they are currently in that cycle of self-sabotage?
You're not operating with a good goal and a good commitment. So you might have something written down, but it's not a full-fledged commitment. You have to have an all-in commitment. And none of this works. A commitment is another word for irrevocable decision. But you have to have that. And your why has to be bigger than your commitment. And you want to bulletproof yourself from self-sabotage. Have your family on your screensaver so you're always remembering why you're doing something. Have great quotes around you. Have a great mentor. I mean, they will not let you self-sabotage. If they're very good at what they do, they will not let you off the hook. And that's where the game changes.
Yeah, and even seeing that picture, like you just made a great point, put a picture of your family on your screensaver, remind yourself of your why. Then instead of other people not letting you off the hook, you won't let yourself off the hook if you remember why you're doing something.
Every day for me, every morning, every night, I have like 10 pictures that gets me into the spirit of my goal. And like I highly encourage people to do this because you just review them. And you won't even try to feel it. It's automatic in the feeling if you really took time to create it. That's what we have to do.
Arash, what is the opposite of self-sabotage?
Winning.
Ooh.
That's the opposite.
Yeah.
But winning is a habit. Earning money at a high level is a habit. Attitude is a habit. So it's not like self-sabotage doesn't come in for me. I just don't give it power.
Right.
And I don't beat myself up if it wins once, but it's not going to win over and over again. The problem with self-sabotage, it's subtle. And then it builds and it builds and it builds and it compounds. Then it's enormous. But you're not going to lose if you self-sabotage once.
Yeah.
But you've got to catch it. That's why your thinking is... This doesn't work without thinking. Thought is the cause of all. Emerson said that. So you've got to train your central nervous system on that whatever you want is just normal for me. But in order to train it, you have to think in a certain way. And that means look at the type of decisions you're making. Are you making decisions out of comfort? Or are you making them out of what you want? That's how you're going to know whether you're in self-sabotage or not.
So good. Arash, thank you so much. Thanks to all of you. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I certainly enjoyed today's episode. And we'll see you next week with another episode of the 7-Figure Standard podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7-Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more people like you. To learn more about Arash and Mikey and how Voss Coach & Co. can help you achieve your goals and reach new levels of success, visit vosscoachandco.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of 7-Figure Standard.